How could Mohammed, an illiterate Bedouin, understand Christian literature? First of all, you should know that according to the Djinn Djibril, Mohammed never spoke directly to Allah. By the Djinn Djibril, I mean the false light of an angel incapable of taking on the proper name of Gabriel. Who tells you that it was really Gabriel that Mohammed met? And if that is the case, why does he call himself Djibril? This is only a false appearance, a false light, that of a Djinn who came to distort past holy scriptures by renewing them with a new one. The identity of this Djinn is a mystery. The first impression Mohammed had upon meeting him was that he had seen a devil. And we will start from the principle that the first impression is often the right one. Who, Djibril or Allah, revealed the Quran to Mohammed? Allah never spoke directly to Mohammed according to Djibril. It was Djibril who transmitted the message to Mohammed. But you Muslims say that Mohammed is a messenger and not a prophet. The messenger is always and only an angel, where a prophet is always and only a human being. Mohammed is therefore not a messenger because he is not an angel. It was Djibril the messenger who announced the Quran to him, and not Allah. Allah is too glorious to speak directly to an impure Bedouin of Mecca. Mohammed was illiterate and could not understand the Bible, nor make the connection between his revelation and the Bible. This is why the Quran is not a continuation of the Bible, as the New Testament is the continuation of the Old Testament. The Quran is a distortion of the biblical facts of which Jesus Christ is the fulfillment. After Jesus Christ there is no one, because Christ is the seal of the envoys. This is why we find errors in the Quran, contradictions with the Bible, but Islam does not call these contradictions but perfections, such as calling Abraham's father Azar instead of Terah, or calling Mary daughter of Imran, whom the Quran confuses with Amram, the father of Miriam and Moses. It also mentions that she is called sister of Harun, whom the Quran confuses with Aaron, the brother of Moses and Miriam. We see here that it is the Quran that falsifies the Bible, by giving more Arabic names to the people of Moses and Abraham, to appropriate rights that Muslims do not have. Why call Gabriel Djibril, if it is the same Gabriel? Why call Jesus Isa, if it is the same Jesus? Djibril is the Djinn version of Gabriel, who is a true archangel and not a devil. Djibril is a false light, not being an angel but a Djinn. Djibril pretended to be the messenger of God to whom Mohammed never spoke, nor heard the slightest whisper. To the point that Mohammed thought he was possessed, and Djibril had to tell him, "You, Mohammed, are not by the grace of your Lord possessed." But it is only through the possession of a Djinn that Mohammed was able to recite a Quran that came from nowhere. The Quran is much more the word of the Djinn Djibril that he transmitted to Mohammed than the actual word of Allah, because Mohammed never spoke directly and verbally with Allah. To the point that Mohammed does not even know the timbre of Allah's voice, but that of Djibril. As I said, Allah is too humble and proud to speak face to face with a Bedouin from the Arabian Peninsula in the 7th century. So I ask you Muslims, who should you believe? Moses and his revelation of the Torah or Muhammad? Jesus and his Gospel or Muhammad and his Quran? I remind you that Moses spoke directly to God through the burning bush, and that Jesus is God in the flesh, while Muhammad never spoke to God or even to the one who claims to be God in Islam, whom you call Allah, but rather Muhammad spoke to the Djinn Djibril who pretended to be the Archangel Gabriel. Who is in error? The Son of God and his Gospel? Moses and his Torah received directly from the hand of God? Or Muhammad who never knew Allah, nor even heard a word coming directly from the mouth of Allah? Allah is too proud to speak directly and verbally to an impure Bedouin of Mecca. And the Bedouins are too illiterate to understand the truth of the Bible, and they are too illiterate to understand the source of the Quran on their own, for that they need hadiths explaining the ayates and the Quranic verses. Where among us Christians, the priests are interpreters, they can from a single biblical verse develop a discourse, a speech around the verse. For priests, interpretation is like taking an ingredient, a verse, and making soup out of it, a Sunday or weekly speech. How could illiterate people understand a written parable? For them, the Quran is above all an oral transmission and not a literary one like the biblical text. For them, therefore, if they want to understand God or if they seek to find God, it is in words that they will find Him and not through written text. For the hadiths are like what we call Chinese whispers. So-and-so said to so-and-so, who said to so-and-so, who said to me like this. The expression Chinese whispers refers to the rapid transmission of information by word of mouth, which can become distorted over time. The expression Chinese whispers also refers to a children's game similar to cordless telephone, where players transmit a sentence by whispering, and the end result is often comically different from the original. The Holy Scriptures are holy precisely because they are not given to all ears to understand them. We must study them and become scholars of these texts, as the Jews were the scribes of the Bible. Scribes are specialists in writing and sacred texts, particularly the Law of Moses, and they have a role as interpreters and guardians of religious knowledge. Scholars, like sages or monks, are those who possess great knowledge, often acquired through the study of the Scriptures and meditation. The scribes of the Torah and the Gospel have a specific function linked to the law and its teaching. How could an illiterate people like that of Mohammed begin to write and understand the Holy Scriptures? The debate is closed. Mohammed is a false prophet who never met God nor wrote any of his books, but he was possessed like a demon by Djibril the Djinn. Djibril's words were revealed to him over a period of 20 years, which he then dictated to copyists. The written compilation of the text was made by companions of Muhammad, starting with Zayd ibn Thabit, and finalized under the Caliph Uthman ibn Affan. The Quran is the word of the demon Djibril until proven otherwise by the true God. The writing of the Quran began after Muhammad's death. Djibril appeared to Muhammad to transmit the satanic verses of the Quran to him orally and not textually. The transition from oral to written form can lead to alterations, such as a dictation by children in primary school which may contain spelling or syntax errors and therefore wrong grammatical meaning. The revelation of the Quran came from a false prophet and a jinn who took the liberty of possessing his victim and making a religion out of him. It was Muhammad's wife, Khadijah, who took the liberty of telling him that Djibril was an angel, when in the eyes of the prophet, what he saw was a cunning devil in angelic disguise who frightened him. Lucifer is a fallen angel as mentioned in the Bible, and he is traditionally equated with Satan, the devil, the light-bearer, who sought to equal God, which is a form of angelic deception. 2 Corinthians 11. But I fear, lest by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety, so your minds may be corrupted from the simplicity that is in Christ. For if someone comes to you and preaches another Jesus than the one we preached, or if you receive a different spirit than the one you received, or a different gospel than the one you accepted, you can bear it well. Now I consider that I have been inferior in nothing to those apostles par excellence. If I am ignorant in speech, I am not so in knowledge, and we have proven it among you in all things. Such are false apostles, deceitful workers, disguising themselves as apostles of Christ. And this is not surprising, since Satan himself disguises himself as an angel of light. It is therefore not strange that his ministers also disguise themselves as ministers of righteousness. Their end will be according to their works. For the last time, Muhammad never spoke to Allah or heard the sound of Allah's voice. It is the corrupter, the Djinn Djibril, who came to possess him and seduce you Muslims, to make you the Antichrist and the bitches of history, because everyone has a role and you chose the role of villains.